Welcome to my studio, and of course welcome to this video. My name is Benjamin Elkema and I'm an artist from the Netherlands, and in this video I would like to share the future of this channel with you. Now I'm going on a journey. Now not literally, I'm going to stay in my studio, but I'm still going on a journey. I've been on an art journey, but I'm going to go on a bit of a new art journey. I'm going to explore some new things and take a different direction in my art. I want to become a master painter. Well, that's quite a statement, isn't it? Wanting to become a master artist. But I do really have that desire to take my art to the next level, and that is what the coming videos will be about and the direction this channel is taking, documenting my journey to become a master artist. Or at least I'm going to try to become one. Now behind me you see, it's not totally empty, but it's not a painting yet. In this video I'm going to paint this painting, and while I'm painting I'm going to share my story, the journey so far, and where I'm hoping that the journey will take me. Before I'm going to share my story with you, let me explain what you are looking at. While I'm sharing my story, I'm going to paint a painting of a scene I like. I'm going to paint with matte acrylics on acrylic paper. And there's two versions of it, and why there are two versions of it, that will become clear in the video. While I'm sharing my story, I will explain to you also why I do this, and why I'm painting this scene, and why am I going to do this twice. Alright, where am I going to start this story? I could start at the beginning of my life, somewhere in the middle, somewhere more recent, but I think I'm going to start in high school. When I was in high school, I really liked arts and crafts and all the lessons about that. And I wanted to do something with that in life. At least that's what I figured. Now, at that moment, I did not get any support from my parents in that, neither from my teachers, so I let go of that idea. And I think that happens to a lot of people who enjoy doing arts and crafts and then get discouraged along the way by whoever and take a different route in life. I'm not going to share my different route in life. I'm going to start in 2016. So that's about 9 years ago. About 9 years ago, my youngest daughter and I, we wanted to do something together, and we came across a watercolor course that was given here locally by a local artist, actually a pretty good artist. But we didn't know that. We just saw that and we signed up, and we had half year of painting lessons by this older gentleman, and he was well in his 80s. I think he was 86 by then, and I'm not even sure if he's still alive today. And he of course had a wealth of knowledge, had been teaching arts for many years, painting lots of paintings, exhibitions and all those kinds of things. A seasoned artist, and I really enjoyed his lessons and all the knowledge that he had to share, and that opened up a whole new world for me. So what just started as an activity with my youngest daughter at the time became eventually a desire in me to become an artist. Now that desire had been there previously, but just probably tucked away, pushed away. But through this course, a whole new world opened up for me. And then I think what happened is something that I do think happens to a lot of artists. This whole new world opens with tons of possibilities and tons of materials, and I tried a lot of materials and enjoyed them. Of course the watercolor, also ink, because I liked drawing already and was drawing during my life, but just for fun. Pencils, markers, colored pencils, all kinds of paints, well, you name it, and probably you know what I'm talking about. All kinds of materials, fun to try, fun things, and you gain a lot of knowledge, and probably what happens then, you become a jack of all trades but a master of none. And that was satisfying for quite some years, until 2023. At the end of 2023, I started nagging and saying, well, I can do a lot of things, but I'm not really a master at any of them. And looking at some paintings other people made, also the older masters made, I said, I want to reach a higher level than what I am at. So I decided to pick someone to teach me some material I liked, And at the time that was gouache, and I really do like gouache. And I picked a teacher. She's from Russia, and I'm not sure if you heard of her, doesn't matter. Veronika Shiukina. And I picked her, and she had a course on gouache. And really, that brought me a lot further along the way. That helped me to focus on one material, and hearing it from an artist that is, yeah, she's a seasoned artist too, and with exhibitions, and in Russia she's quite known and her artworks are quite known. So that was really a privilege to have her teach me, and translation was a bit of an issue here and there sometimes, but eventually it worked out, and I took her course, and I think it took about 6 months, very intensive, focusing on gouache and everything she had to share about gouache, and helping me reach a new level further than I've gone before. And I came a lot further, but I did not reach the place where I wanted to be. Still, today, I'm not a master. I wouldn't call myself a master. I can paint nicely, but I'm definitely not a master, and I still want that to reach that goal. So when I was done with her course, I started experimenting after that with myself, to trying to find the right material. Gouache is nice, but gouache has some issues: waterproofness, light fastness, all kinds of issues dealing with that. And eventually I settled on going to matte acrylics. That is close enough for me to gouache, but it gives me a lot of possibilities. And it's of course waterproof, it is light proof in the end, so it's a nice medium to work with. But even picking a material doesn't make you a master. I realized that quickly. And I painted some nice thing with the acrylics, but I'm still not a master at painting, and I want to become a master. So I realized to become a master I had to take a rigorous decision. A very rigorous step. And that was to let go of all those materials, all those art mediums which are getting in the way of becoming a master, which are distracting. And I have to settle on one thing only, and I said that was acrylics. Now, I toyed in my mind a little bit with colored pencils, since I really like those. But when I was working with them, just before taking this decision, I realized that they are very lovely, but they are very, very slow, and if you make mistakes, well, it's pretty hard to correct them, and paint is a lot easier. So I let go of a lot of materials and redecorated even my studio to reflect my journey of becoming a master. So, and that is my journey now. That is the real question I have to, was because I'm not the youngest one anymore. I'm not old either, but I'm not young. And when you are young, it's easy to take up things. And the big question is, I'm 55 now. Can I become a master at 55 still? Now, I still think I can. And that is why I took these steps to make sure there's nothing in the way of becoming a master painter. But the next big question is, of course, who's going to teach you that? And what do you like? Now, there are some paintings I like. Now, of course, I like paintings from Vermeer and Frans Hals and from Rembrandt. I really like those paintings, but I'm not into portraits and those kind of things. I really like landscape. And the genre I really like in landscapes are what in Dutch is called the Hague School, and in America they call it the Hudson River School, are more the romantic landscapes. Now, there's not really a romance going on in it, but that's just what it's called, romantic landscapes. At least that is what it's called here. I'm not sure if that is in English the same, but here it is called romantic landscapes, and I picked that. And now the next question is, of course, who's going to teach you that? Because here in the Netherlands, I haven't found anyone doing that, at least not as far as I want to go. They teach you some basics, but not how to become an expert in it. So I, of course, looked online like these days you do, because it's very easy. There's a wealth of information. And I came across a few painters, which paintings I really liked, but most of them are from Russia again. And then the same problem might appear again, the whole translation bit, which is tricky because not everything gets translated well, and some things are actually lost in translation. Until I remembered someone I liked, whose art I like on YouTube, and that is Andrew Tischler. And yes, lo and behold, he has an academy. I looked at the academy, I looked at the materials, and I signed up right away saying, yes, this is what I want to learn. Because he's at a level, a great level, he's an expert at what he's doing, and I can glean a lot from him. I'm sure about that. So I signed up for his academy. There's only one slight issue I noticed. He's working in oils, and oils and me, they don't go together. They dry too slow, they smell too much, they make kind of a mess, and I decided to stick to my acrylics. That gives me an extra challenge. So not only the challenge is becoming a master, but also converting all that he's doing to paints and finding out how I can paint with acrylics. A bit like oils, that's never going to be oils of course, but how I will manage that and still learn everything that he's teaching, all the concepts that he's teaching. And the good thing is he's not only teaching how to use oil paints, but he's sharing his concepts and his philosophies behind the paintings and the way he paints and the method he's showing. So that is what I finally picked up, and that is what this introduction is about. This is the introduction where I'm going to follow the Tisch Academy, the Academy of Andrew Tischler, in my journey to become a master. So in the coming videos, and that might be quite a lot of videos, I'm just going to show you my progress, the lessons I'm taking, the progress, what I discover through them, the problems I am encountering, and what goes wrong, what goes well, and how I'm using also the paints a little bit to achieve what needs to be achieved. And I'm going to document my whole journey in becoming a master. I think they call that vlogging nowadays. Although I'm not gonna film myself the whole time, it's more you see what I'm doing. And that's my journey. And I'm just welcoming you along in my journey to join me in these coming videos. And I hope to have a regular schedule of every other week releasing a new video about my journey. Now, once in a while, I might, of course, release some other videos. And if you've been on my channel a longer time, you know I'm very diverse. I'm going to be a lot more focused in the coming videos and hopefully the coming time to also help me build this channel a bit better and focused. And it's just going to be, say a documentary about my journey in art. Well, my painting is done by now, and you probably already figured out why I am doing this painting and why I'm going to do two of them. This is going to be my before and my after painting. Now the before painting is done before the Tisch Academy, and once I've gone through the Tisch Academy or think I've done enough lessons to make a new version, I'm going to do a new version, and then I can compare them. So this painting shows the current level I am at. Although even in this, while painting this, I was experimenting a little bit with a new technique. I tried a different technique with the tree, the leaves, and I think that is a nice improvement. You can see the trees in the back, which are really bulky, but the tree in the front is nice and some air. You can see a bit of the sky through it. I think that was a nice improvement already. But I still think it looks kind of like an illustration. I do like it, but I think I can get a lot further than this with the help of the Tisch Academy. And I think at that note, I'm gonna just end the video, and I just invite you to come along with me in the coming time and see how I will be growing, or if this becomes a disaster. Well, there's a possibility too, of course, but I'm not counting on that. I think I will discover a lot through Andrew's teaching method and the philosophies behind it and the things he shares. Well, that's it. Thank you for being with me in this video, and I hope that you come along with me in my journey.